Joining us right now from DC United, Bobby Boswell. Bobby, welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure's all mine. Bobby, let's talk about that big win over a Sporting KC. A gut check time for your club. You came up against one of the contenders in MLS this year, and you really answered the bell. What worked well for you guys?
Well, I think it was kind of a weird 48 hours for us. You know, we had a nightmare of a time getting there. We flew in the day of the game. I think I've never done that. I've been doing this 12 years, and that was a first for me. So we kind of had a look in the mirror and just said, are we going to be a team that makes an excuse and says, all right, whatever happens, or do we just say we have to go out there and win, and regardless of what goes against us? And it wasn't the prettiest game. The weather wasn't the greatest. It was another long delay in the halftime, but we were able to come out and kind of get a goal right at the end. And, earlier this year we've been dropping some points at the end of the game, so to be able to go and win one at the end of the game, that was quite nice.
So, Bobby, bring us into the locker room before kickoff. Is it you that stands in the middle there? Who is it that stands up exactly what you told us to get the guys' attention?
Well, we talked about, our team is it's a group thing. It's not any one guy. Obviously the head coach, Ben Olsen, has a lot to do with controlling the ideas and what's being said, but there's guys that have been around the league a long time, so whoever feels is up for the moment to say something, they can. But we're a group that realistically we don't need a whole lot to be said. We just we understand what it takes to win in this league. We just haven't been producing on the weekends as much, but I really do think with how hard we work, it's only a matter of time before that turns. And you saw a little bit of that against Kansas City. Hopefully we can maybe turn that into another win again on Wednesday. So our team's a big group in terms of everyone leads. It's not just one guy. It's not one guy standing up every game and saying something. It's everyone being a part of it, and I think that's what a lot of successful teams have. They have a lot of guys that lead, not just one.
Bobby, we had on Kofi Alpari on our show a number of times. He's a friend of mine, and so I'm biased towards this young man. But we talked about one player on your team that I don't think gets enough respect when he's 100% healthy. I don't think he gets enough respect, first and foremost, from Jurgen Klinsmann, Team USA, and the league as a whole. When he's healthy, I will take Bill Hamid today, tomorrow, next week, next year as my number one goalkeeper in all MLS. Please talk about this guy that is an acrobat making save after save to keep this team in games.
Yeah, I think Bill's, you talk about a lot of teams and they have superstars, and when you think of a superstar, you usually think of the guys that score the goals. In our case, our superstar is in our net. He is our stud, and everyone knows that. I think Bill knows that. But for me, the great thing about Bill isn't just that he's a stud on the weekends. Bill works very hard during the week. He pushes himself harder than anyone. He has a set of standards that he wants to be the best, and not just the best on our team. He wants to be the best in the country. He wants to be the best in the world. And I think he looks, he's been lucky to be in the class with Tim Howard and some of those guys. He's played under them, so he's seen what level he can get to. And I think his goal is to be the number one, and not, like I said, not just on the national team, but all over the world. And I think realistically, he's got the potential to do it. He's an animal. He can make saves, pull balls out of the corner. He's good with his speed. He's becoming great with his speed. He's working on that, more than anything. And I don't think that Jurgen isn't aware of him. I think everyone knows if Bill is healthy that he should be in that mix. And once he's in the mix, it's all what he does with it. But from what I can tell, and I play with a lot of really good goalies, Bill's up there with the best, if not the best. So and that's not me saying that lightly. I love all the guys that have played goalie with me, and but he's a rare talent. He really is.
Bobby, I caught a bit of the game against Sporting Kansas City, a big result for your squad there, and a guy that I can watch next week, or when I watched him play against TFC earlier on this season, Marcelo Sarvas doesn't change his style. Gutsy. He'll go through a brick wall for his teammates. He's fierce. He's like a pit bull out there and a guy that gives you everything he's got. Is he the same in training like that as well?
Yeah, he's a little bit older now, so in terms of training, they can't, the way we train, so he takes some days off when he needs them, but and he's not trying to, he's not running through guys to the point of, in the games he's pretty physical. He doesn't try to hurt anybody. That's not the way he's wired, but he definitely goes in hard, and we don't quite go that hard all the time in training, but when it's necessary, he definitely does it. He's been quite a surprise for me. I played against him a lot, and I'm pretty surprised with how well he does and how well he gets in there and wins. He wins a lot of balls, not just with tackling hard, but he kind of tackles smart. He sets a guy up where the guy thinks he's going one way, and he actually reads it and pokes it away the other way. So he's definitely been big for us, and he's won, I think, at every level he's ever been at. He's been a winner his whole life. So hopefully he can help us go to the next level, and we can keep helping him win, because I think that's what he wants more than anything. He's real competitive, real fiery. He gets I've never seen someone get so angry when we give up goals as he does. But like you said, he's a fiery guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and I think he's a good player for our team.
Bobby, just before we let you go, let's talk about the league, how it's grown in leaps and bounds. Let's also talk a little bit about that real good support you have there in D.C. There's not, an overwhelming support like in other cities, but there's a solid solidarity and a real good group that week in, week out, it doesn't matter the weather, they'll come out and support you. That's one. But let's talk about this league, how it's exploded. You look at Orlando City, 50,000 to them is nothing. It seems like they're doing that, every other week. They've really electrified the league since entering it. We see two teams in New York, the Derby, the Passion, the Desire, the Pacific Northwest, Vancouver, Portland, Seattle, Toronto FC with Jovinko, Drogba with Montreal. It's got to be great to play in the league today like you are with the experience that you've had over the years with the negatives and some of the positives. Talk about it.
Well, yeah, first, the fans here in D.C. are great. I was here for 3 years in '05, and they were kind of the cream of the crop then. It was the standard, I think, for the rest of the league to see what the Bar Bravo was doing and the Screaming Eagles, and now, like you said, there's some other teams that are pulling in these huge numbers, but our fans are just as intense, if not more intense, than any of those. I'm really excited when we get a stadium. I think you'll be blown away by what they're able to do in an enclosed stadium. I love RFK, but it's such a big open area that it kind of the noise gets lost a little bit. Whereas if we play in a stadium like a lot of these other teams have now, you won't be able to hear yourself think. It'll be so loud. So that's the first thing. As far as the second one and the way the league's growing, it really is amazing. I think it's awesome. It's an exciting time. Like I was thinking. We have these Sunday games and the Friday games. I was almost wishing we had a game every night. I know as a union guy, I probably shouldn't say that. The league would probably want that, but it's fun to watch. There's players on every team that are exciting, and different matchups, like you said, the Montreal versus Toronto and the Vancouver, Portland, and Seattle. Like there's great games to watch all the time, so it is fun to watch. And I always joke around, but it's starting to. I really think it might have some ground. Like in a long time from now, I might tell my grandkids I played in MLS, and they might not believe me, just with how big it's getting. And maybe that's the goal, is to see how big it can get. And I think it has the potential, and it crosses borders, and it does some things that other sports in this country and in North America in general can't do. So hopefully it keeps growing, and I know the kids love it, and because of that, it will keep growing.
Lastly, if I'm not mistaken, and I did my homework, Bobby, you're born in Texas, in the state of Texas, correct?
I was, yes. I grew up in Florida, but I was born in Texas. I lived in Texas for 6 years when I played with Houston, so I do claim them both. I claim Florida and Texas.
Well, quick question on this. Look, I got to tell you, the state of Texas is absolutely exploding. I mean, Houston, FC Dallas, there's talk of maybe San Antonio coming in or Austin. I mean, a lot of people like to talk about the other football, the NFL, the NCAA, which we know is a religion down there. But I'm telling you, it's picking up steam. I've talked to Fernando Clavillo of FC Dallas, their head coach. I've talked to many people from Houston Dynamo, their president, Chris Canetti, and on and on and on. They rave about the grassroots youth development there in Texas. I think this is a story that needs to be told, Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Texas is a hotbed for soccer. You know, there's a big argument, California versus Texas, who produces more. But you know, for me, that's the key is the youth, and if the kids play and they enjoy it. You know, it used to be that if you were a great athlete and you were a kid, and in this country, your parents would say, well, yeah, soccer's fun and all, but you want to play baseball or you want to play football because there's a future in that. Whereas, you know, now it's they can go to games, they can go watch Houston play or Dallas play, and kids can watch that, and that's what's so great about it is because now the parents are saying, well, I know you love it so much, and you know what, there is a future in it, so go ahead and keep playing that. Let's see how far we can take it. Whereas before, I think parents were kind of closed-minded because they didn't really know the game, or they just looked at it and they said, you know, you're going to have other options that might take you further. Whereas now there's nothing holding a kid back from playing the sport that he loves. And you know, that's for me is the biggest thing is every kid plays soccer at a young age. It's just whether they kept pursuing it, and now it's going to be one of those where I think they will pursue it, and it'll be even tougher now to make it. It'll be only the best of the best, but it'll also create soccer fans moving forward, so there won't be any of this closed-minded. You know, this isn't a North American game, or this isn't an American game. You know, you're not going to see that anymore because it's here and it's not going anywhere. And so you're either on board or you're off the train, and it's moving fast.
Bobby, you're a class act. Good luck the rest of the season. Good luck with your whole team. Say hello to my buddy Kofi Opare, and I hope when you decide to hang him up in many, many years from now, you get into coaching, because I think a lot of the young players out there would love to have a guy like you to teach them the game that you've loved so much. Bobby, again, thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule, and good luck the rest of the way, my man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.